Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you're watching this, it means that you're interested in attending a GA. So in this video I'm going to explain how the GA works, how we vote and everything. Kiki and Denise will come in to help. So the General Assembly, which we call GA for short, is a meeting of representatives from countries that have a local member organization. The GA takes place during the IVSA Symposium in the winter and the IVSA Congress in the summer. All local member organizations vote together as one country. For example, IVSA Thessaly and IVSA Thessaloniki vote together as Greece. Each country has 2 votes. During these GAs, the IVSA officials report their work and discuss the future of IVSA. All decisions about the future of IVSA are made by the GA, and all the representatives have the opportunity to speak and give their opinion on IVSA matters. The rules about the way that IVSA is run are in the Constitution and bylaws. The Constitution is a short document with factual points, such as where our office is registered, the official language, the goals and ambitions for the next few years, the mission and the structure. The bylaws are longer and more detailed. They explain the reasons behind the points stated in the Constitution and explain the procedures, such as how we calculate a membership fee, how we elect our IVSA officials, how we run a GA, and many more. Then there's also the IVSA manuals and the strategic plan, which are both not binding. These documents are more like guidelines. The IVSA manuals go further into detail on how to carry out different projects, such as how to organize the annual IVSA Congress or Symposium, what happens during a GA, and how to chair GA, for instance. These manuals are very detailed and exist to ensure that IVSA continues the level of professionalism and keeps meeting the high standard. The IVSA strategic plan is the vision for IVSA and how IVSA can grow in the next 5 to 10 years. The GAs have instructions on how to run them, which are called the Robert's Rules of Order. These are a set of rules used by many international organizations and to make sure that the GAs are fair, objective, and professional. The rules describe simple things such as no person is allowed to speak for a second time unless everyone else that wants to speak has spoken for the first time. Countries can vote in favor, against, or abstain. Abstain means that you do not want to express a preference, you don't want to vote in favor, but you also don't want to vote against. The rules also describe complicated things such as how an election takes place and how to propose a project, document, contract, or a similar thing for approval. When you want to ask for a decision from the GA, you can make something called a motion, which we will come back later. In order to know what we want to talk about in the GAs, an agenda is set up before the start of a GA. Any member can add something to the agenda to discuss during the GA. Some things that we discuss during a GA are new contracts or agreements with sponsors and partners, the membership fee calculation, changes to the bylaws or the constitutions, which we call amendments, application for membership from students that want to start a new local member organization, the work of the IVSA officials for the last year, election of the new IVSA officials and the IVSA Congress and Symposium hosts, and the budget. So now the complicated part, the voting and the motions. For the example that follows, I will be the chair of the GA, Kiki will represent IVSA France, and Denise will represent IVSA Netherlands. So like I explained before, every country has 2 votes. There are supranational entities that represent more than one country, and these get 2 votes as well. Example of supranational entities are IVSA SAVMA, that represent the United States and Grenada, and IVSA UK and Ireland. All local MOs present at the GA must agree on how to cast their vote and should try to make sure that each of them has an equal say. So the 2 votes do not have to be cast in the same way. For example, you can cast 2 votes in favor, 2 votes against, 1 in favor, 1 against, 1 in favor, 1 abstain, or 2 abstain. When we're voting for a person, so during elections, we do not allow for voting against. So you can only vote in favor or abstain. One representative from each country will be casting all the votes during the General Assembly, so each country should select 1 person for voting. So there are different methods of voting. When the chair thinks that all countries will agree with the motion, he or she will just say, "Are there any objections?" If you agree with the motion, you won't say anything, but if you don't agree with the motion, you should raise your hand and the chair will then ask for a card raising vote. There's a motion on the floor to accept IVSA Narnia as a new chapter. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, the motion has passed. Okay, now to a card raising vote. The chair can ask for a card raising vote when not everyone agrees on a motion or when a 2/3 majority is needed for a decision. All countries receive 2 green cards and 2 red cards. And it works like this. Everyone in favor, raise your green cards. Everyone against, raise your red cards. Motion passed. If you want to abstain a vote, you just don't raise any cards. There are different kinds of motions that can be made for different reasons. If you want to make a motion or speak, you have to raise your hand, wait for the chair to give you the floor, stand up, state your name and voting entity. For example, Kiki?
Kiki Streng, IVSA France.
So after doing this, Kiki can start speaking. So when you speak, always speak to the chair and not to other representatives in the GA, even if you're answering a question that they asked. Then there are motions which we call secondary motions. These motions can interrupt the main motion. The motions we use most are a point of privilege, which is related to noise or personal comfort. Kiki?
Kiki Streng, IVSA France. I cannot hear the speaker.
Denise?
Denise van Ekelen, IVSA the Netherlands. Point of privilege. It's very hot in here. Can someone open a window?
Okay. Next we have point of information. This is to ask a question about the facts. You don't actually give information. So for example, when the nominees for IVSA Symposium are presenting. Denise?
Denise van Ekelen, IVSA the Netherlands. Point of information. What are the exact dates of the symposium in Istanbul?
Then there is a point of order. If the rules are not being followed, you must say that immediately. So for example, when Denise is speaking for the second time before Kiki has spoken for the first time.
Denise van Ekelen, IVSA the Netherlands.
Kiki Streng, IVSA France. Point of order. I want to say that Denise is speaking for the second time before I've spoken for the first time.
Okay. During the GA, there will be someone appointed to be the parliamentarian. This person knows a lot about the IVSA constitution and bylaws and has access to them during the GA. The parliamentarian can be asked questions if we're unclear of what the bylaws or constitution say about a certain topic, or if we're unsure of what the official rules are for a certain procedure. All questions to the parliamentarian are called parliamentary inquiry. To make a parliamentary inquiry, you have to again raise your hand, stand up, state your name and voting entity, and state your parliamentary inquiry. All motions must be made by the representatives in the GA. The chair cannot make a motion, but can propose or entertain a motion. When the chair proposes a motion, it can be moved by a representative. All motions must be seconded by representatives, but another person than who moved the motion. So for example, the chair would like to entertain a motion that all IVSA officials must perform a dance routine.
Kiki Streng, IVSA France. So moved.
Second.
The motion has been seconded and is now on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion? Kiki?
Kiki Streng, IVSA France. I would like to suggest that all dance routines should be on Taylor Swift songs.
Are there any other comments? Hearing none, we will now go to a vote. Everyone in favor, raise your green card. Everyone against, raise your red cards. Motion has passed. If the discussion is taking too long, you can make a motion to move the previous questions, which means stop the discussion and go straight to a vote. So for example, there's been a discussion for 10 minutes about something and everyone seems to have their opinion ready.
Blah, 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 blah.
Kiki?
Kiki Streng, IVSA France. I moved to previous question.
Second.
The previous question has been moved. We now go to vote on the motion. The last thing you need to know about motions. Motions that have been seconded and are on the floor can be amended or withdrawn. For amending, there could be parts of the amendment that you would like to change before accepting it. So for example, the motion on the floor is all IVSA officials have to perform a dance routine. Kiki?
Kiki Streng, IVSA France. I move to amend the motion to all IVSA officials have to perform a dance routine on a Taylor Swift song.
Okay.
Second.
Are there any objections to amending the motion? Hearing none, the motion has passed. The motion on the floor is now all IVSA officials have to perform a dance routine to a Taylor Swift song. Once an amendment has been proposed and seconded, you must first vote on the amendment, and if the amendment passes, you will then go to voting on a newly amended motion, like we just explained. If you feel like a motion on the floor should not be voted on, you can propose to withdraw the motion. You propose to withdraw a motion by saying, I move to withdraw the motion, all IVSA officials have to perform a dance routine. This needs to be seconded and then voted on. If the motion passes, there will be no more discussion on the topic since the motion is withdrawn and is no longer on the floor. Everyone has the right to voice their opinions, so please don't be afraid to stand up and speak during a GA. If you're unsure of how to properly propose a motion, we can all help you with that. If you'd like more information, please visit the IVSA wiki page. On the wiki page you can find the bylaws, the constitution, all the manuals, including the GA manual and the strategic plan. Thank you for watching.